Hello and welcome to the Outcast, the Not How to Train Dragon podcast, which is a part of the Bellcast YouTube channel because why not? And for the first time ever on the Outcast, I'm not alone. Along with me, HC is Rush.
Hello.
Uh, good to have you here. Always fun talking to you about movies, even even if they're not How to Train a Dragon.
I wish it would be under different circumstances because, oh boy, this movie.
Yeah, we're talking about a big one, and we know it's pretty much a week late, but Rush didn't get to see it until this week, correct?
Yep, the previous Monday from this video. And if you're wondering what movie we're talking about, look at the title, you doofus.
Yeah, look at the picture we are talking over. It's Avengers Infinity War, probably the biggest movie slash series finale to ever to ever exist. And yeah, to those of you who are new to the Outcast, the way this is usually goes around is that we just like share our non-spoilery thoughts about the movie, and then we just go in with full spoilers and talk about the entire thing and seeing how. Before we start, Rush, what is your experience with the MCU?
I've seen every single MCU movie except for Ant-Man and Black Panther. Ant-Man because I just didn't want to. Black Panther because it came out, a month ago, back in the peak of college and shit like that.
Yeah, okay, so I've seen both of them. I would actually really recommend Ant-Man. I thought it was really good, and Black Panther is also great.
Yeah, everybody's
So
recommended
I'm
Black Panther, so
yeah,
gotta
I'm
see it.
kind of in the same boat. Like I saw all of them. The two movies that I missed though are The Incredible Hulk and Iron Man 2. These are the two movies I've missed.
Really? I've seen Iron Man 2 a lot more than I thought I ever would, given how meh it is.
Yeah, that seems to whenever I tell people that these are the two movies I didn't see, most people just tell me you're not missing much.
I really like The
Uh,
Incredible Hulk.
yeah, but it's interesting because both of these movies, like some people tell me, you know what, you should give them a watch, but then the other half is like, you're not missing much. Just if you never get to see them, you can live without them. And so far, like there's nothing in the MCU that seems out of nowhere to me or not understandable because I missed those two movies.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't think, yeah, because just to kind of say this up, like off the gate, if you've never seen any Marvel movie, then this is not for you.
Yeah.
Like, don't even approach because it's kind of like reading Harry Potter and the Deadly Hallows without reading any of the previous books. It,
There was a New York Times article published and it blew up
yeah,
on Twitter because it was basically the author complaining about how the Avengers Infinity War has no character depth. It only relies on previous movies explaining the characters. Ergo, first time watchers have no idea what's going on. And everybody's
yeah,
like, that's the point?
yeah, that's the point. Like, because this is like movie number 19 in the MCU.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
if you have seen the previous 18, what the hell are you doing here? It's so I get what they mean though, because I get where the complaint is coming from, because it's a blockbuster movie, and in those kind of like action movies, you can, like, let's say, maybe not the best example, but let's say Spider-Man 3, for example, you can watch it without seeing the preview. And I talk about the same Raimi one specifically.
Yeah.
You, you can watch Spider-Man 3 without seeing the previous two, and you can follow it along fine. But this it's a different, because it's different between these two cases, because with Spider-Man it's just one character, and you can kind of give a brief summary at the beginning. Tell the other, this is who he is, this is his situation,
Yeah.
have fun. In this one, how many heroes do we have? A
A lot,
lot.
and you also have the fact that you have so many different scenarios and stuff. I you say you can understand the complaint, and I kind of can. Like everybody was talking about how this is a giant, like huge end all to be all, and so they should be. You should have some knowledge. Not even if you don't have knowledge of the movie, you should have some knowledge that the movie will be like full of past references and all that stuff. And then I'm just glad the directors uh, did not go for that. Like they knew the people who really wanted to see this movie would know what was going on.
Yeah. And again, like when I say I get where criticism is coming from, it doesn't necessarily mean I agree with it because a third movie in a franchise is not like the 19th movie in the franchise. By movie 19, you should like if you haven't seen any of the previous 18 movies, then like what makes you think the 19th is going to go easy on you? Do the homework before then.
Yeah.
Okay, but so that aside, and our thoughts on the MCU aside, which you know what, not just I mostly enjoy the MCU. Like there are lesser movies. Like I won't say that Thor and Thor: The Dark World are the greatest movies ever made, but it's all fine. There is no real MCU movie I hate.
Yeah, I like Thor more than the other movies because it was like you got to cut it some slack. It was still the introduction to the whole. I mean, Iron Man was before, yes, Iron Man and Incredible Hulk, but that wasn't really. That was before they even thought of the MCU, sort of. I mean, they gave hints at it, but then uh, the actor didn't return, so kind of had to shelve him until the Avengers movie. But
Hmm.
so Iron Man came, and then it was Thor after that, and they kind of had to deal with a whole
Because
different aspect.
Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2, and then Thor.
Really, I thought the Incredible Hulk was before.
Yeah, it was right after Iron Man.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Okay. So then, I guess yeah, just changing the actor probably put any more Hulk movies on the shelf, but until
Yeah.
Avengers. So either way, it was still they were still kind of figuring stuff out. So I give Thor the benefit of the doubt.
No,
It,
again, just because I think it's one of the weaker ones, it doesn't mean I think it's a bad movie. I had fun watching it.
fair enough.
So yeah, we both like the MCU quite a lot, and coming to Infinity War, I personally, non spoilers yet, I personally loved it. I thought it was great, but well, I will say it may be in my top five favorite MCU movies. I won't necessarily say it's the best one of them all.
Fair enough. I mean, I still have to see part two. I really, um, I think it was. I'm with you. It was great. I have to say and trying to do non spoilers, but they have several different locations and they have so many characters to manage, and I think they do that beautifully. They give each character enough time to be themselves, uh, and they don't do it like over long before switching back to another section, and they don't like cut you off or anything. They give you just enough of each character. Um,
Yeah, that's a very impressive thing to do because um, I won't like some characters may get the rough end of the stick
yeah,
in this because but when you keep in mind that you have Iron Man, the Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and and Spider-Man is in there, yay, and all the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Black Panther, and Doctor Strange. All of these guys are in there, and these are a lot of characters.
mm-hmm.
So the fact that they managed to mm, pull that balance off in the sense that even the characters who are getting less screen time still get a moment to shine
Yeah.
in the movie in some way or form. And That's impressive in itself because you have more than 10 heroes sharing the poster, and then you have probably one of the best villains ever in the Marvel history,
Mm-hmm.
and with that, like I would even argue that Thanos is the hero, is the main character of this movie.
So actually, before the movie came out, it was either one of the producers or one of the director brothers, because it was the Russo brothers. One of them said
Yeah.
that the two main focuses of the movie are actually Thanos and Thor, and I could see that after upon watching it.
Okay, we may start getting into spoiler territory here,
I
so
was saying that the director said that before a movie that way, so it's not that was a predefined spoiler, quote unquote. It's not something that it was something that you could have seen without seeing the movie. So
yeah, true. Okay, so I think about this is like a thin line here. So let's just say, final non-spoiler is that we both liked it a lot. We definitely recommend it if you like the other MCU movies. Go watch it, have fun, and then come back to our spoiler talk of it. So you have three, two,
wait.
one.
Let's sorry. Let's should we
Okay,
define?
don't
Do
go.
we? Yeah, I know.
Don't
Sorry.
go.
I just kind of had a thought, and I was kind of like on the fence, and I just said you know what, let's do it. So let's say what movies should you watch before seeing at a minimum, so that way you can keep it to a minimum. What if you haven't watched any MCU movies? Which ones should you watch before you see
Well,
Infinity War? So
I'll say, like, I think the two obvious ones are the Avengers and Age of Ultron. The previous two Avengers movies
yes,
are
so
definitely a must.
I say you have
And
to see all initials. So Iron Man. You don't need to see actually the Incredible Hulk because that doesn't have the actor, and they kind of pull him out of nowhere in in the Avengers movie, so you don't need to see that.
yeah,
Thor,
like I said, I didn't see the Incredible
yeah.
Hulk at the time of recording, and I'm able to follow the other movies fine.
The only
So
real similar thing you get from there is that one, he runs away at the end, so he's in hiding, and two, you have that director guy, uh, who's only in Infinity War for like 2 minutes anyway. But
uh, wait, before you go over this, the like top five movies I will say that are needed and that are needed to watch it before this one. So I said both Avengers movies, the first Guardians of the Galaxy, in order to get to know these characters.
mm-hmm,
After the Civil War,
yes,
uh, and probably Doctor Strange.
uh-huh.
Everything else, what did you say?
No, I was saying okay. I said okay, like I can understand it.
Ev- yeah, everything else, even though everything else is good. Like one of the movies I didn't mention is one of my favorite MCU movies, but that's probably because I'm a shameless fanboy of a certain hero. Um, but those five movies I think are required in order to have minimal understanding of Infinity War.
I was gonna say you need all. I was gonna say you need introduction movies so you can get the character, because you don't know why Iron Man talks the way he does to Doctor Strange in certain scenes. So I'd say at least the initial movies for all of them, of all of the Avengers. So Iron Man, Captain America, Winter Soldier, um, Thor, and then that's actually the only three you need from the Avengers. Then the
Actually,
original Avengers.
I might add Thor Ragnarok, and
Oh
we'll get
yes,
to
no,
why.
you definitely need Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah,
That's a big one.
and we'll get to why later.
Yeah.
But I will say though that I think even though I love the first Iron Man and I really enjoy the first Captain America, the first Avenger, I will say that you can skip to the Avengers without because let's say I when the Avengers came out on Blu-ray, I saw like I actually managed to convince my mom to see it, and even though she didn't see any of the other films, she understood it really well, and even became a Hulk fan afterwards. So You can start with the Avengers, no problem.
Well, okay, this is my recommendations. We got your recommendations out of the way, so
Yeah, I'm just pointing things out
well,
because
I'm
we,
a diehard
we
MCU fan, so
and also keep in mind that we say 5 films, so you
what?
can't
No, I
really.
didn't give that. I didn't give that
You said,
criteria. I said
oh,
name the
you
films
know
that you
what?
think
You
are a
know what?
minimum requirement.
Excuse me. Actually, because a bit before we started this, I saw another review about it, and they said top 5. So I'm sorry, I'm confusing the two. We're not as popular, sadly.
Clearly. Anyway, so I say so those three original movies, and then Doctor Strange, and
Okay.
in terms of original like originating movies, the Avengers 1, 2, and 2.5 Civil War. Um, and basically, so any of the movies that I haven't included that have an Infinity Stone in it. Um, so Guardians of the Galaxy. Well, you definitely need to see that one anyway. Um, then we have Thor 2. That one is like the minimum because that has the Reality Stone in it, and that one just gives you an idea of what it can do and where it goes in the end. And even though they show you where it goes, sort of. What else am I missing? So we have Guardians of the Galaxy with the power, Reality, and Thor 2. Avengers
Actually,
already
I think
has
Guardians 2
this.
is worth watching before this because even though I enjoyed Guardians 2, I think it's less important in
Yeah,
the.
they only reference it like barely in the introduction, sort of. So you don't really need to worry about that.
Yeah.
Um, so Guardians of the Galaxy has the power. Reality is Thor 2. Time is Doctor Strange. I already mentioned that. Space, the
Yeah.
Tesseract is Avengers, and sort of the Mind Stone, but that's also in Avengers 2, and that's 5 of the 6, and the Soul Stone appears in this movie. So there we go. That's all of them.
Okay. So is it time for spoilers?
Yes.
Okay, so this is your chance for reals this time. If you haven't seen the movie yet, then go check it out and then come back. We start spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Still here? Good. Everyone dies. Thank you and good night. Okay, so being cynical aside, I let's just go over the movie, like in terms of what what's happening. So we start off really like actually, I love in the Marvel Studios logo that they want to mention that it's been 10 years since Iron Man came out, so it's 10 years of Marvel Studios and the MCU. So they made the 10 part of the Marvel Studios logo. Like, yeah, I really don't get it. Like, as they did it with Fan Steak, and now have you ever got the idea why they put the number as part of the name? I never got it. It always confused me.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm not nitpicking. It has nothing to do with the movie, but it's just a thing that I never got why people do it. Hmm. Anyway, so the movie actually begins, and you know this picks up right after Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Like after the mid credit scene, we see Thor and all the Asgardians manage to escape Asgard after it was destroyed, and then they came across Thanos' spaceship, and then we see Thor, Loki. I forgot the name of the guy who opens the bridge,
Heimdall.
and yeah, and the Hulk are on Thanos' ship. And they kind of mentioned that Thanos killed all the Asgardians, which it kind of renders Thor Ragnarok mute in that
Well,
sense because
it's weird because he actually later in the film Thor says he killed half my people. And that is Thanos's, his end all be all. He does kill half the population for balance, right? So,
Mhm.
but it seems like he killed everybody. Maybe he took them aboard his ship. I don't know. Um,
Maybe. because technically he doesn't kill Thor. He just
Leaves
he
him to
just
die in the
yeah, it's a nice face. So wouldn't it be a totally different movie? Jumping ahead a little, if the Guardians of the Galaxy just came across a random as Guardian instead of Thor,
yeah.
what are the odds? How it should have ended? Contact me if you want to use that. Anyway, but I did like the opening. Like it already establishes Thanos as the big bad villain, and also body count already too. Like both Handel and Loki are dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how Thanos kind of says that Loki can resurrect himself from this because Loki has died and and was resurrected several times already. So it's like,
Yeah.
nope, he's really dead this time.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Hiddleston, the contract is up.
Yeah. I actually, it was kind of weird seeing the Thor versus Thanos scene because it's like this is the first time where you really don't have. I mean, you have the people in like the green suits behind them, but you don't have like any actual human element behind the fight, and it was done really well. It was really funny. It was like, wow, there. This is actually all pure CGI.
Hmm. You mean the Hulk, not Thor?
I thought I said Hulk. You're right. You're right though. Hulk versus.
Yeah. You talk you say green and it's like when was Thor green? Oh, it means Hulk. Yeah. Which actually isn't kind of funny that Hulk just waited in the side until Loki gave like the cue of we have a Hulk in reference to the Avengers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did like the fight. Again, it's like because if you want to see one Avenger take on Thanos one on one, it has to be the Hulk.
Before this movie, yes, but after this movie, whew,
Yeah,
I got a new favorite
and
Avenger.
yeah, and Hulk takes him being defeated by Thanos really, really badly,
Yeah.
as we see in the movie. Like I like it. So like Hulk, come on, no. What do you mean no?
I actually, so that's one aspect of the film I didn't like too much. It seems like, so they were in these like intense fight scenes where it's like all important and stuff, and you have him making jokes about like, what do you mean? Ah, screw you, we'll do it ourselves. Like, okay, you didn't have to be funny at that moment. I mean, they definitely could have done it at a different point. Like the intro, the very first time when it's like, all right, getting ready, I'm getting angry, and it just doesn't happen, and that's a good point right there because you're
Uh, you know,
introducing.
I I know where you're coming from with this, but at the same time, the comedy doesn't come from the fact that he's trying to be funny, but that he's frustrated because he needs the Hulk at that
Well, I know he's not
situation.
trying to be funny. It's a life or death situation.
Yeah. But I know what you mean in that specific case. But so just before this, so Handel sends Hulk back to Earth, and Thor is pretty much left out in space to until he meets the Guardians, and then we cut to Earth where Doctor Strange finds Bruce Banner,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, he warns them about Thanos and everything, and then actually now we come to the point where the, they come to get Tony Stark, Iron Man, into the entire thing, and this is one thing I really want to say. Like everyone said that Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange is pretty much Iron Man with powers. So I really like that Strange and Stark don't get along, and both actors like
Yeah.
both Downey Jr. and Cumberbatch are probably like I could watch an entire movie with just these two characters like bickering with one each other. It's great.
Yep. And they got the whole they were together the whole time. They got their own arc.
Mhm. Actually, the one missed opportunity with both of them being on screen is that none of them said to the other, "No shit, Sherlock." That could have been amazing because both of them played Sherlock Holmes at one
Yes.
point.
Yeah. I saw that stupid
But
Tumblr post.
Actually, you know what? I have no idea there was a Tumblr post about it. I just said something that I thought could be funny because both of them played the character. But eh. So after they both meet up, and I did like that joke that Tony tells Bruce Banner that the Avengers broke up, and he's like, broke up like the Beatles. That's his first into it. I don't know why. I thought it was really funny it, comparing the Avengers to the Beatles is kind of comparing a burger to a milk. It's not the same thing at
Yeah.
all. And then Thanos comes to Earth and he takes on that. Actually, this is one thing I want to ask you. Were there any cheers in the screen you were at?
I'm sorry, you cut out there for a second.
Oh, were there any cheers from the crowd in the theater you were at during the screening?
Oh God, yeah. Do you want me to list them by alphabetical or chronological in the movie?
Yeah, because I saw this opening day. So opening day for two these movies are all the big fans, which yeah, I'm also a big fan. So the first major like cheering moment was when Tony suits up as Iron Man once Thanos shows up on Earth.
Yeah,
That was the first one. And actually, I love that he called not necessarily Thanos, so maybe it was one of the one guy that helped them, but I love how he calls them Squidward. I don't know why.
that was so funny. Yeah. What is his name? It's like something Moss or something like that. Um,
I don't remember much.
so
But
they
yeah,
were
I did
called the
like the
Children
fight,
of
and
Thanos, by the way.
yeah, aka the Koopalings.
Ebony Maw. Okay.
Okay, yeah, Ma, that's it. Um, and then during the fight, Peter Parker senses the portal from a school trip, and this is one of my favorite moments. Not only because I'm a big Spider-Man fan, as listeners of the Bellcast probably know by now, but I also like that he asks Ned from Spider-Man: Homecoming for a distraction, and the first thing what's the biggest distraction you can pull off? We're all gonna die. We're all gonna die.
And then
And
we get our
so,
Stan Lee cameo. That was great.
yeah, the Stanley he drives the bus, so that means because a bit before this movie, like Marvel released that short clip online, but it shows the entire thing of like Peter noticing the portal, and then Ned causing the distraction, and then Spidey jumps out of the window, puts the mask on, and swings away. They cut the part where we see Stanley as the bus driver, and someone in the comments jokingly said the that the bus driver saw Peter putting on the mask. So yeah, I think he did because the bus driver created him as a character. So good on you, YouTube commenter. You kind of got it right, kind of. But yeah, that's one. That moment actually got me to like soft chill, seeing Peter handing on the bus, putting on the mask, taking the bag, and just jumping off, swinging away in order to save the day. And also then when Thanos is about to punch Iron Man, Spider-Man actually manages to block the fist. Yeah, because again, Spidey is pretty strong, and it was a good moment to show how strong he is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, anything you want to say about the whole thing? Because so far it was mostly me.
Well, yeah, gotta let HC do his rants, even though this is a fan rant or a.
It's not a rant. It's me.
I know
It's me
it's
fanboy
fanboy.
favorite
I know
hero.
it's a fanboy rant. It's just you're going off and nobody can stop you.
Oh,
It's a rant in all the good ways. In all the good ways. Uh,
okay. So
I know there's a better way
before
to
we start,
put it, but I can't remember.
what do you have to say about Spider-Man and choose your words carefully?
I don't feel so good.
Yeah.
uh, oh man, but
If you're going to say it's not Tobey Maguire, I swear.
yeah, no. So um, where to start? Okay, well, I'm really glad they put the focus on Thor. He is my favorite MCU hero now. Before it was Hulk, but we didn't get much Hulk time. We might get it. Well, we probably will get it the next movie, and Hulk might become my favorite again. But it's actually funny. In Thor Ragnarok, they were joking about how Thor couldn't beat Hulk, but he definitely could. He definitely could. So, um, I thought so.
That's actually one of the age-old questions in comic books. Like, who will win in a fight, Thor or Hulk? And there are various outcomes to each incarnation. So
Hmm.
that's something.
So all in all, like I really liked. There's just each part was great. So obviously you had the initial the guys on Earth. So you had Doctor Strange and uh, Iron Man versus their telekinetic and supergiant children of Thanos or whatever, the Dark Order, whatever they're called. And I thought it was really
Hmm.
funny because you had that's also when Spider-Man came in fighting the supergiant. Um,
Yeah,
and then when it's leaving, because they he captures the telekinetic captures
Doctor
Doctor
Strange.
Strange, yeah, and puts him on the ship. They're leaving, and Spider-Man is on the ship, and then he gets his Iron Spider outfit, and that's
Yeah,
awesome.
that yeah, that's something I do want to comment on. That I love that they gave him the Iron Spider arms, the
Hmm.
forearms on his back, but at the same time they kept the suit looking more like the original Spider-Man suit. So I thought it was a nice compromise and looks great.
They gave him his signature. Oh, cool! What the heck? When they came out, that was funny. I also like how his like how he Iron Man's like, all right, what's your plan? And he's like, okay, okay, okay. Have you ever seen Aliens?
Yeah,
And they actually
I
roll with
love
it.
that his pop culture knowledge still saves the day.
Yeah.
And also, I do like that once he gets the Iron Spider, so his first reaction to this is literally, it smells like a new car in here. I
Oh
love
yeah,
that.
cause yeah, that was great. So after they take out telekinetic guy, let's see, it goes back to I'm guessing, I think it goes to okay. One thing that I really didn't like, it's not that I didn't care for it. It's just that it wasn't as interesting to me. Mostly because I don't really mind too much the Vision and Scarlet Witch side story. Um,
Yeah,
oh yeah, here's another clapping when Captain America came in, even though everybody knew he was coming in from the freaking trailer.
trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that was a big cheering moment in my theater as well.
yeah, and so, but
Actually,
yeah,
before that, was Spidey named an Avenger before or after this? I
no.
don't
So he was
remember.
named. Um, well, I don't know if it was before or after that moment, but it was after they took out the telekinetic guy because they were going
Yeah,
to Titan to wait for Thanos. They were
yeah.
taking the fight to him.
Hmm. I just want to comment on that. The coronation, quote unquote, itself was funny. That all you need to be an Avenger is for Tony Stark to put his hand on both of your shoulders, and you're an Avenger now. But like Tom Holland's face on that moment is like, I made it. I'm an Avenger now.
Well, you know why? Because they probably didn't tell him that was happening just so they could get his actual reaction.
Yeah, probably. And so he won't spoil
Spoiler. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, he can spoil anything
it.
after the fact, but like, yeah, everybody. So for those who don't have an idea of what's going on and haven't seen Spider-Man: Homecoming, Tom Holland. It will actually go through the whole list. So Tom Holland, Mark Ruffalo. So Tom Holland is Spider-Man. Mark Ruffalo is Bruce Banner slash the Hulk, and Sebastian Stan, who is the Winter Soldier. They're all notorious for spoiling things. Um,
Yeah.
just so for Tom Holland, he was given like the minimum script, and they would tell him certain things to do that he didn't know, and so a lot of his reactions could possibly be very can be like actual reactions. You could probably see him as that. Ironically,
Yeah.
there's actually just the other day somebody had found and posted on Twitter about a year ago. Mark Ruffalo had a interview. He's with Don Cheadle, who's War Machine, and
Hmm.
they were asking like, "Oh, Infinity War, can you tell us anything about it?" Mark Ruffalo goes, "Yeah, just it's about all of the Avengers die." He caught himself saying half, and which actually happened, right? Half the or half of those heroes die, not the
Uh,
Avengers, but
it's a good thing I missed that, or if I missed that, I probably didn't take it seriously.
yeah. But it's
Because
it's funny because Don Cheadle actually caught him saying half, and like he has a half-second reaction where he's like, "What are you about to do?" And then he realizes, and then he just plays off as a joke, and so yeah, that was funny. But yeah, so they're
yeah,
notorious for spoiling things. So you can probably put down Tom Holland or Spider Man's reaction as genuine in a lot of cases.
probably. Yeah, so here's the thing. I never really knew much about Scarlet Witch or Vision prior to seeing the movies, but I did really enjoy them in both Age of Ultron and Civil War. But for some reason, they were. When I say some characters get the rough side of the stick, I mostly mean these two because I don't know. They were fine. They were fine. They still had their cool moments, but at the same time, I don't know. Nothing. Uh, if you told me to cut one side of the movie because it's a really long movie, so if you told me
Hmm.
to cut one side of the story, I will probably say this one.
I mean, I can understand why they spent maybe like 2 minutes too long on their introduction, um, because you have it. I guess so. They're part of the bad side of the Avengers. So Avengers Civil War happens. The Avengers are split. The bad side, quote unquote, are either in jail or in hiding or on what is it called? House
Yeah,
arrest.
I think seeing how it was implied that Cap broke all of his team out at the end of Civil War, I believe this was because Scarlet Witch was on Cap's side and Vision was on Iron Man's side, so that was
Hmm.
probably him trying to keep her safe
Yeah,
after the airport
yeah, and
and after
and
out.
they even actually mentioned that when they wanted him to contact Vision, uh, they said that Vision went off the grid. We lost him a couple days ago. Um, but then but since Captain America knew where Scarlet Witch was, they knew that he would be with her, and they were right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So it's they find so Vision and Scarlet Witch are in hiding, and so then two more children of Thanos find them. Blah blah blah, because they're going after
Hmm.
because Vision has the Mind Stone in his forehead, um, and so basically they're going for that. Then they're trying to. So then after Captain America and the whole team saves him, they take him to Wakanda. But in the meantime, we go back to let me say this. We kind of skipped over this, but the point where the Guardians of the Galaxy find Thor, absolutely hilarious.
Hmm.
Classic Guardians of
Yeah,
the
that's
Galaxy
great.
style.
I would say that the interaction between Thor and the Guardians was one of the best parts of the movie. Like I love when they bring Thor to the ship. And it's like, what is it? It's a dude. He's not a dude.
This
You're a
is a
dude.
man.
He's a
You are
yeah.
a dude.
And yeah, and Peter Quill just being all jealous of Thor, and he's trying to speak nobly as the leader
Yeah.
of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's like, what the hell are you doing, dude?
What are you doing?
And
I'm not doing anything. You're
yeah,
copying me.
yeah, I love that. And I also like the interaction between Thor and Rocket. Like
Oh
Rocket is
yeah.
my favorite of the Guardians of the Galaxy, so
Yeah.
I like the interaction between him and Thor, and I like how Thor keeps calling
Calling
him
her a
Rabbit,
rabbit. Yeah.
but Rocket is really mad. But Rocket isn't really mad about it because
He
he
doesn't know
he
what a rabbit
sees that
is.
Thor, not only that, but he sees that Thor doesn't really say it in order to hurt him per
Yeah,
se.
he just
He
doesn't
just
know.
that's what yeah, that's what he thinks. And I also like a teenage good, like when he tells him I am good, and say, "Oh, whoa, whoa,
Language. They
language."
also I also like how Thor understands him too. That is so funny.
Yeah, it was a mandatory course that he had to take on Asgard. I love that.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Yeah, so that's great. I've heard a lot of people complain that the Thor, Rocket, Groot side quest, let's call it that, carried on for a bit too long. I don't know. I
No,
didn't have a problem with it.
I know
It
I
was one of
didn't
my
either.
favorite, you know.
Then they had so you know what? I'm just gonna go on each character's side quests for now on. So I'll finish the Thor and Rocket one. So basically, they go to find a the dwarf's forge inside of a neutron star, so they could make the end all be all weapon that can kill Thanos. And when they get
Yeah,
there, the star has died. It's cooled down. There's only a single dwarf left, who is ironically played by
Dinklage.
what?
By Peter
Yeah, Peter
Dinklage.
Dinklage.
That's his
That's right. I was about to call him Tyrion Lannister, but I'm like, wait, no, that's another person he plays. So yeah, Peter Dinklage, who
name.
is actually short in real life, but they make the dwarf a massive giant. So everybody, people were laughing really hard at that, and I thought it was really funny too. But basically, so
Yeah, because it's the last person you think of
yeah,
in order to play a giant.
a giant dwarf. So Thor restarts the star spinning in a badass manner. Part of it fails, and then we get to so he encloses and to hold it open. We get the trailer scene where we have Thor holding two things and like screaming. That's basically the star that he's holding, and then
Groot gives his roots completely
yeah.
the axe. That was great.
So basically, the axe head needs to be put together, and it needs a handle, but they can't find handle. So Groot cuts off his arm and uses it as handle, and then we'll come back to that in a sec. Well, okay, so he implicitly he calls
Because
the
honestly,
Stormbreaker to him.
and,
Um,
and yeah, actually, before we move on to that, a huge divide, uh, as because in both Guardians of the Galaxy so far, it was hinted at that Star-Lord and Gamora have a thing, but this one like confirms that they are like they kissed. They are a thing now.
yeah,
Also, one of the funniest things is standing there and looking at them and like, what are you doing? It's one of my powers. You can't see me.
yeah,
I can just stand in a place and you can see me. So I like that moment. And Gamora says that she knows the location of one of the stones, and she tells Peter to kill her if Thanos ever gets her. He does, and but we I did like that she tells him to kill her, and he doesn't know what to do. Chris Pratt, that is Chris Pratt, right? I'm not
yes, that
confusing
is
them.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah, and so a really great job in the acting department. That on one hand he wants to listen to her, but on the other hand he can't. And by by the time he actually pushes the button, Thor, Thanos changed the gun to a bubble gun. It's like, I like you, and then he teleports away, and we see no the entire planet is pretty much on fire. That was a great scene.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
um, so yeah, so that's the Reality Stone in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Then they go to Titan, which is where we now meet up
Actually,
with.
before then, because Thanos takes Gamora to
Oh right,
where the Soul Stone, and
yeah,
before there's the scene with Nebula, which, to be honest, seeing Nebula torn apart like that was kind of freaky. Actually,
yeah,
I was twitching a bit in my seat. But he takes Gamora to where the Soul Stone is, and then the biggest surprise, I guess, because everyone in Mighty gasped at that moment, Red Skull. is there protecting the stone.
Yeah, I kind of had an idea that's where he would be, or not where he would be. I kind of had an idea who it was. Like, I see this hood and all that stuff. I'm like, that sounds like Hugo Weaving, who plays Red
Which
Skull.
actually not him.
Really? It wasn't
Yeah,
Hugo Weaving?
apparently people who sat in the car, actually it's not him.
Hmm. Anyway, so
Yeah, so we get the entire, we get the entire. Thanos has to sacrifice Gamora,
to get the Soul Stone.
which to mhm, which to be honest, people will. I kind of saw it coming, and it was kind of making Gamora look a bit foolish when it's like, "Hi, you're not capable of loving anything." It's like, I figured out it's you. I figured out he has to sacrifice you.
Yeah.
Um, but I did feel bad to see her go. Actually, it was kind of sad seeing her go, and something tells me it's permanent.
Yeah, so yeah, he gets a Soul Stone, and then he goes to Titan, which is where Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and Iron Man are going to, as well as the Guardians of the Galaxy that are not with Thor. So we get a kind
And
of funny
what,
little thing where
just
they,
my where, let me ask you something. Where is Gamora? Let me ask you this. Who is Gamora? I have something better. Why is
nice,
Gamora?
yeah, we get a funny thing where basically the Guardians of the Galaxy attack the Iron Man team, and they think that they're working for Thanos, and we get a do it, Quill. I can take it. No, you can't. Iron Man's holding basically a blaster up to Drax's head, and he says that because Peter Quill or Star Lord has Spider Man, and we get
Yeah.
anyway.
Actually, another moment I like is that when Mantis is approaching Spider-Man, he's like, "Don't lay your eggs at me," and he tries to whip it
Yeah.
out. That was funny.
And then there's also, so once they get all that fixed, and then he's like Kevin Bacon from Footloose, the greatest movie ever, and then we have Spider-Man like say, Footloose was never the greatest movie ever.
Yeah. Tony's like, "Don't encourage this." It's actually funny that both Peter and Peter have something to connect over, and it's
Yeah.
pop culture. Also, one of my favorite. Let's talk about this plan of yours. I think it's good, except it's not. So let me do the planning. Maybe then it will be good.
And then we have the biggest point of the movie, which is where um, Doctor Strange is using the Time Stone to go into the future and see all possible outcomes, and he says he only sees one that they win. He says, I think, or yeah, he says
Yeah.
coming out of this alive or something like that. He says one. He doesn't say getting
Mm-hmm.
the Infinity Gauntlet. He doesn't say beating Thanos. Well, it's kind of the same in the end. But he says coming out of this, and he says there's only one. And so
Yeah.
they get into this great fight scene with Thanos. Um, but before we get to there, we'll go back to Wakanda. So on Wakanda, they're trying to take Vision's Mind Stone out of his head safely because he has other consciousness. This Mind Stone isn't him. He can be taken out with extreme surgery. And then we got a lot of the children of Thanos coming in to attack, and so we get the massive war fight scene going on. Blah blah blah. Well, Vision's trying to get his head saved. I don't know. So that happens. Um, then I think what we'll do. Geez, now it's hard to say. Like, I really don't have much to say about the fight scene, but I will say that you know, where do we go? Should we go back to Thanos fighting other team, or until Thor comes back?
Because I think basically, like both Titan and Wakanda are pretty much a big fight scene in
Yeah,
itself. Like the Avengers on Titan are fighting Thanos, while on Wakanda everyone fights,
his
Thanos' army,
forces. Yeah.
and actually my big the big cheering moment from the crowd was when Thor
Thor comes
grew
back.
up
Yes.
show up at Wakanda. The audience eyesight went insane
So
at that moment,
so Thor's
and it
new
was
weapon, by the way, gives him the power of the Bifrost, which is the thing that lets him transport anywhere too. So that's how he gets on Earth, by the way.
yeah. And also I love like the I am Groot, I'm Steve Rogers, and also Rocket and Bucky like how much for the gun, not for sale. How much for the arm? No response. Oh, I'm going to get that arm.
And then he uses him as a second like weapon by holding him up. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's
It's
amazing.
also funny
And
because it
also
like a talking raccoon doesn't bother Bucky at all.
yeah, and also Doctor Strange helping all of them teleport in on Titan. That was
Yeah.
pretty cool, and I like elements. Magic, boom, magic, boom, extra
Magic
magic.
kick. Magic kick. Boom.
Yeah,
I really think
and
Doctor Strange going like God mode against Thanos was awesome because like Doctor Strange is also he's in my top five. Uh, just not even from a Marvel Cinematic Universe, but from an actual comic book standpoint. Marvel's being Marvel standpoint, and so seeing what he did as the Grand Master did, that was really cool.
mhm. What else do I want to say? Actually, one point I wasn't. I'm not entirely sure if I'm against it or not. Is that when so all the Avengers fighting Thanos on Titan are manage to tie him up, and Mantis manages to put like to
Try and put him under sleep.
hypnotize.
Yeah, regardless.
Yeah, and Spidey almost manages to get the hands off, like the gauntlet off his hand,
Hmm.
and then Peter like lets his feeling like Star-Lord lets his feelings for Gamora get in the way, and actually he starts attacking Thanos, waking him up, and like, basically screwing the entire plan up. Uh, a lot of people are divisive on that moment. On the one hand, I can tell why people like it, but I can also tell why people don't like it. I'm somewhere in the middle.
I mean, I know why they did it from a movie standpoint because hey, we have a second part of this. We can't actually have them win, right? How are we gonna get Thanos to get the Infinity Gauntlet back? Let's have Peter be an asshole. I mean, and it's like, it's a lot of people are like, oh, he did nothing wrong, and it's like he did something wrong. He killed half the universe by doing that. But it's like it's understandable. Like you can't say, oh, it was a crime of passion, so it's wrong. So it's not wrong. No, it is wrong still.
Yeah.
It's just
Actually, one quick word about Thanos' motivation. I don't agree with it, but I can see where he's coming from, and I think it's an interesting motivation that he doesn't want to kill everyone in the universe, just half of it, to make sure the one, that there won't be so many people in the world to care about, and so that it won't cause an overpopulation. I don't agree with it, but I can
well,
see where he's coming
I
from.
hope you don't agree with it. Otherwise, you'd be on a murderous rampage to kill half the population.
Yeah. But the other thing is that a friend of mine who read the Infinity Gauntlet comic book
Yes, I
actually
know
told me that
that's a difference.
his like basically his entire motivation there is he's doing this because he wants to get inside Death's pants.
Yes,
That's
so basically he's in love with death and he wants to kill as many people as possible to impress
it was
the
very
actual
cool,
physical
but
incarnation of death
yeah.
in the Marvel comic book.
Who was also married to Deadpool, as I mentioned. Very important.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, they at that point he's just another villain who wants to kill. I really, really like how they gave him a different side. He's a very relatable villain, and you can actually see his feelings. It's not like, hey, I have to kill Demore for the Soul Stone. Haha, another person to kill. Death will like me more. No, it's like, this is unfortunate that I have to do it.
He dies when he has to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a great motivator and a very good plot line
And
to
also,
have for the cinematic Thanos.
there's the moment where he stabs Tony, and everyone thinks that this is, and like Mighty gasps, like, this is it, Tony's gone. And he actually tells them, you know what? I hope they'll remember you because you put up a fight. And you know, none of the villains really do that to the extent of I hope they'll remember you after I'll kill you.
Yeah.
He shows admiration to the enemy, which I thought was interesting. And then you know he Doctor Strange gives him the time stone,
To leave him alive,
and
yeah.
I yeah, and you know people say why would the Strange like give the stone that is for to protect in order to save a person who he butted heads with all the time. I think it has something to do with the one option he saw that involves them winning.
It does. There's no question about it. Like the second I saw that happen, I thought, oh, so there was never they never were going to get the Infinity Gauntlet because okay, here let's skip ahead to when he's disappearing. He said to Tony, "This was the only way."
Hmm.
So there you go. And basically, you know, they were never intended to get the Infinity Gauntlet. It was intended to give the best situation to which the most of them survived. You know, despite half of them being gone. What if he had actually killed them, right? Um,
Yeah.
so the most of them survived, and then the most of them can fight and bring them back. Now, I'll get to that in a second. But so he gets the stone from
One
Doctor Strange.
thing, yeah, but after this, Thanos teleports to Wakanda, this was actually pretty neat that like Scarlet Witch manages to remove the stone in Vision's forehead, and but then Thanos rewinds it and just takes the stone away.
Well, hold on.
So
Let's
it
let's
was
let's get a little backstory. So when he first comes in, so basically, um, they've defeated all of the children of Thanos or the Dark Order. So when he comes in, they're trying to get Vision back to save him because he's outside of like the fighting area where one of the children of Thanos is. Um, and then basically everybody that's on Earth that's fighting, like so. Bruce Banner, by the way, is inside the Hulkbuster from Age of Ultron. Not he's not actually
yeah,
Hulk, but so Thanos comes in and like it's just a bunch of slow mo. All of the people, all of the Avengers trying to fight him, and then Thanos just goes basically bitch slapping them all out of the way. Uh,
yeah,
and so
that
as
was
he's
actually
walking
well,
to Vision, so Scarlet Witch destroys the stone right in front of him, and he actually gives a really nice monologue, a tiny monologue there. He's like, "I know what you're feeling, or like I know how you're feeling. It hurts, doesn't it? But time is
mm,
irrelevant." And then he rewinds time, and I'm like, oh shit. I mean, I knew that he had the time stone, so it didn't matter, but it was a really nice thing. Like he actually talks to the people who were feeling lost. It's just another great character moment for Thanos, and then he quite graphically rips Thanos's the stone out of Thanos's head, puts it in this Infinity Gauntlet, and he gets all his powers, and then in comes Thor with Stormbreaker, and that thing rips through the entire power of the Infinity Gauntlet right into Thanos' chest. And then Thanos or Thor says, "I told you I'd come back and kill you," and Thanos says, "You should have gone for the head."
yeah. And that's actually one thing I want to say. As someone who can snap his fingers, I would love that if the end all be all solving the problem thing would have been that Thanos can't snap his fingers. Can you imagine that?
That'd be funny, yeah. That's something for how it should have
Like,
ended.
oh yeah, and then you know that's the most interesting thing about it is that yeah, Thanos pretty much wins, and you know, people gasped when Black Panther vanished because you know, Black Panther I think was a hit that Disney and Marvel didn't expect, at least not to the point it was,
Mm-hmm.
because it's one of the most successful Marvel movies, and so all of a sudden ego and the entire theater gaps and like when Spidey went I was it was really painful to watch and because you know, other people like you know just vanish but him is like I don't want to go I don't want to go I don't want to go
Yeah.
and it was
Like you get
so
well,
sad.
it's funny. You get or not funny. I mean, well, sort of the juxtaposition. You get Peter Parker or Spider-Man going like, I don't feel so good. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And then Doctor Strange just sitting there like, yeah, this is gonna happen anyway. He accepted it. So
Yeah. But there is an important thing, and then I want to mention because everyone says, "Oh God, these characters are dead," and I don't think all of them are dead
no, they're
because
not.
Spider Six coming is confirmed
Yes. Well, okay,
at this
okay,
point
okay.
in time.
Let's let me stop you there. For one, it's a Marvel movie, so not anybody that's dead can be brought back, guaranteed. Um, so yes, and then the
I
sequels, like
will tell you this.
you can obviously throw the
Wait, wait.
sequel part, but like you can throw the sequel part into the argument, but like yeah, okay, but they just won't kill all of their characters without bringing at least some of them back.
I'll tell you what I think because all the characters that do survive are, are Iron Man, Captain America, Thor,
All of the
and Hulk,
Avengers, all of the original
and
Avengers are still
some
alive.
yeah, the original Avengers and Rocket.
Rocket, yeah.
So and seeing how most of their contracts are done after the next Avengers, I think that there may be like switcheroo that they'll have to sacrifice themselves in order to save the many.
I know what,
That's my theory on how this is.
and I think I have a different theory, and I think you'll like it better. Um, but so yeah, so Rocket and Nebula is still alive, and my theory on why Nebula didn't disappear is because she's more machine than whatever alien race she was before, so she actually couldn't have this. She would wasn't considered by
Yeah.
the fates. Anyway, maybe that's the same reason for Rocket too, since he has cybernetic enhancements. Either way, um, so yeah, you have them. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Hawkeye is still alive or something like that somewhere. So yes, all the original Avengers are still alive, plus Rocket, Raccoon, and some I don't know, maybe some other people here and there. Um, so then it ends with Thanos basically on some planet watching a sunset, and you could see the Infinity Gauntlet snapping his fingers actually did some damage to him. But anyway, so here's
But he's
yeah. So here's my theory for what happened. So let's put it this way. So let me start off by saying anybody who died before the snap is dead. Gamora won't come back, despite some people arguing with me in Discord chat. Loki won't come back. Sad face.
He and Handel are my bet are probably gone forever.
Yeah, well, before the snap anyway. But anybody after the snap can be brought back because so now somebody said like, oh, their souls were stored in the Soul Stone. I don't know, maybe. But yeah. So I think anybody that was taken away by a snap could be brought back. Um, so here's how I think the next movie will end. So yes, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr.'s contract as Iron Man is done, and he's probably not going to do another one. I don't think he's
Also,
going to get.
Captain.
Yeah, Chris Evans. I don't
Uh,
think he's going to die. What I think is going to happen is Captain America will sacrifice himself because he always does, right? Um,
yeah,
he'll in order to bring everybody back, he has to give up the one thing he loves, and that's being a hero for America. So he has to give up being a hero or his own life, and he does that. And Tony Stark retires as Iron Man because we had that whole issue. We had that whole like thing with Pepper to begin with at the very beginning, and I think
yeah,
he's like, you know what, I'm done. I can't take this anymore. You guys are on your not like on your own. He's like, you know, he does. It's a very sentimental moment for him, and I think he just retires. And there's like the new set of Avengers and all that stuff. But I think that the people we'll lose will be. I think we'll only lose Captain America. I think Iron
yeah.
Man will
That's
stay alive
one
just for
of the
now.
main bets in this movie, and that Cap will die in this movie. And if it were to happen, it will probably be the next one.
Hmm.
It makes more sense.
Yeah. So, well, that's my theory on the next movie.
And just one more thing is that the post-credit scene is Nick Fury transmitting a distress signal to Captain Marvel,
Hmm.
whose movie is coming out next year before Avengers 4. So that's an interesting thing to hint at.
Yep.
And that's pretty much it. I think we covered it all.
Yep. That's it.
So overall, great movie. I loved it. Can't wait to see it again at one point. Yeah, go watch it. Anything else you want to say before we close this?
Nope, think we said it all.
Okay, so that's been all for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you enjoyed. What did you think about Avengers Infinity War? You can tell us all about it in the comment section. And on Tumblr, where we are known as Bellcast Team. On Twitter, we are Bellcast with a capital B, capital C. And we are on the Hawk Dragon Discord. It's kind of funny plugging it in an episode that we barely mentioned it, but what the hell. So until the next Outcast and soon to come next Bellcast, I was HC.
I was Rush.
And we will talk to you all next time. Take care.
Bye.